Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video. Today I am doing my first official mock draft before the NBA draft that is this Wednesday. My second one, I'm doing two before the draft comes out. My second one is going to come out either Tuesday night or Wednesday, the day of the draft. And it is going to be my official mock draft that I have during my live stream up. That is just a little bit of spoiler. I am live streaming the NBA draft with some of my friends Wednesday night, going live right when the draft coverage starts. So be sure to tune in, leave a like, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And let's get started. Here we are. The Atlanta Hawks are the first team on the clock this year. And the Atlanta Hawks got lucky in this draft lottery. I think they had like the 7th or 8th best odds to win the lottery because I don't think they were in the play-in unless I'm tripping. But for the first overall pick, there were talks, or I have seen that there's talks that the Spurs are going to trade up for the pick to pick number one for the second year in a row, but I don't think that that's going to happen. And then all three of these guys have been in talks for the first overall pick with Atlanta, basically since they were told that they had the first overall pick. Zachary Rizashea is probably the guy that's going to end up getting picked. I've seen a lot that's saying that they're going to go with either Sarr or Donovan Clingan. I think Clingan's actually the second most likely guy to go to Atlanta. Zachary Rizashea, though, let's see if they have a scouting report because this is who I am going with for the Atlanta Hawks here first overall. Um, this mock draft, I'm just thinking of who I think that who is like most likely to go there, and then on my official mock draft on Tuesday or Wednesday, that's gonna be the one where I'm like going like taking some shots, making some trades, thinking about who could go where. Can't be more than a 3-and-D guy right now. Not great body control or change of direction. Been in a shooting slump. Defense is very strong, and that's why he's still a lotto pick. That's in May, though. Comp is Brandon Ingram with more defense. That is who the Hawks will go with here. I think that he's basically just got the ceiling of like a DeAndre Hunter, who the Hawks already have on their roster. Maybe like a DeAndre Hunter and Matisse Thybulle mixed together. Because I don't think that Rizashea is a great basketball player. I think he might end up being a bust. Everyone's saying that this is going to be like the 2013 draft this year. And I think if that's the case, the best case scenario for Zachary Rizashea is to end up having a career like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I don't think anyone in this class is like Anthony Bennett bad, but there's no superstar level talent in this class unless Matas Buzelis or some of the other guys we'll be talking about later in this class end up turning out being great. Next up, we have Alex Sarr out of France. He played in the NBL in Australia this last season. He has shades of Evan Mobley, Nick Claxton, and Kai Jones. The first two great defenders. Evan Mobley was in the Defensive Player of the Year conversations a couple of years ago. Claxton is a very underrated defender. He's talked about as being one of the best interior ones in the NBA, and he's a great rebounder. Kai Jones is just a really good athlete. He hasn't had much success in the NBA, but that is who Washington will take if he's still available at 2, unless some team comes up and is offering like tons of future draft capital and stuff for that second overall pick. Then I think Washington, like, no doubt will take Alex Sarr at number 2. He was thought to be the number 1 overall prospect in this class for a long time, and then it ended up becoming that Zachary Rizashea is probably going to the Hawks. So I think it's almost inevitable that the Wizards will take Alex Sarr. So that's the first 2 picks there. Next up, the Houston Rockets, who have a very interesting team. They have a great mix of young talent and older veterans like Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams, all them. And they're going to have to pay Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, and all them coming up. So I don't think Fred VanVleet's going to last out the rest of this 2-year contract. I think he'll be let go on that after this next season because he has a player option. And I think because of that, they're going to draft a guard to try to go out and replace him in Reed Sheppard. Sheppard's a really good player out of Kentucky. He's only 6'1", so he's really small for a 2-guard, but he was a great shooter, 54% from the field, and he shot a lot of threes, if I'm not mistaken. 19 years old, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists a game. He was not mostly the primary scoring option, primary ball handler in the games I watched of Kentucky. Let's see what they compare him to. They compare him to Jason Kidd and Derek White. I could really see him being a Derek White, just a go-to good role player that can fit in any offense in the league and help them become a championship contender. Reed Sheppard is a great guy for Houston to pick up, especially if they will be parting with Fred VanVleet. Next up, the San Antonio Spurs. And this is another pick that everyone's been mocking forever. Stephon Castle, a really good perimeter defender, also can get his shots, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists on 47% shooting as a freshman on the national championship team. He wasn't even the main scoring option. I'd say that that's either Clayton or probably what's his name? Tristan Newton, maybe even Cam Spencer. But he most definitely was not the most number one scoring option, and he still got his buckets. He still had a great season. Next up, Detroit here. The Detroit Pistons at number 5. This is a pick where it could go a lot of ways. I've seen Dalton Connect go here in a couple mock drafts. So the Pistons at 5, I've seen 6 rings of steel in his mock draft with one of the people from the Deep Three Pod, I think that's what it's called. They went with Dalton Connect here, 5th overall. I personally think that the Pistons are probably going to lean more to Matas Buzelis just because he's super high upside. He's kind of like a better Connect who can also play the power forward if he needs to. But Buzelis is much more versatile, connects more of a 2-3 only. Buzelis can play the 1 through the 4 and maybe even the 5 as a small ball if he can develop some strength and rebounding a little bit. Do not want to reload the site. So I think that they are going to go with Matas Buzelis here. And I think Buzelis, I don't know how the fit will work perfectly alongside Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham, but I think if you're Detroit, they're in a spot where they're so bad and they're not going to get any free agents that they just have to go best available, best upside. And if Buzelis ends up working out, he could end up being a great wing on the Detroit Pistons in the future. That's a do-it-all wing, rebounding defense, scoring, everything. So I think that's who they're going to go there. Just bet on his upside. Next up, 6th overall, we have a trade here. Charlotte will be trading down. The 6th overall pick, the Chicago Bulls are trading up here with him still available at 6. And I think this is actually going to be a trade. It's going to be pick 6 and Mitchich. Actually, no, let's not do Mitchich. Let's do Nick Richards. For who could the Bulls give up? For hold on, let me think of something real quick. Okay, we're doing for Javon Carter, Julian Phillips, and it says that they own their own 2030 first. So that is a trade. Pick 6, Nick Richards for Javon Carter, Julian Phillips, and a 2030 first. I think that the Hornets would like the upside in Julian Phillips. Javon Carter just brings a good defensive backup guard. And the Bulls trade up to get Donovan Clingan out of UConn. The only thing about that trade is the Hornets may not have to give up Nick Richards in that deal. I just gave him in there just because I feel like he might get traded to the Bulls in a trade like that, and then get they would most definitely trade Vucevic if they have Clingan, Richards, and Vucevic. But the Bulls get the guy that they've been looking at for a long time. Next up, 7th overall, the Portland Trailblazers are on the clock. And I think that Portland will most definitely go Dalton Connect if he's still available here at 7. They don't need any guards. They need a good scoring wing, and that's exactly what Connect is. Great athlete, good scorer. 8th overall pick, the San Antonio Spurs. They're going to go with another guy that's been mocked to them for a very long time, Rob Dillingham out of Kentucky. A great shifty point guard that has a lot of upside as a scorer. The 9th overall pick, the Memphis Grizzlies. And I think this is where another trade happens. So I think that it will be pick 9 to Toronto for pick 19 Ochai Agbaji, and the Hornets will also be getting back Jalen McDaniels, who used to play there. So the Raptors, I think, trade up here, and they're going to be looking at either guards or wings. And I think the most appealing guy here to them is Ron Holland. Great upside, good athlete. He's just a good overall player, and I think that he would be a perfect fit right behind RJ Barrett, who could also play small ball power forward when needed. Next up, the Utah Jazz, and I think this is where Nikola Topic ends up potentially going. Actually, you know what? They don't have many wings. I think they go Cody Williams here. They bet on his upside, a former guy projected to go first overall in this draft. Cody Williams, the younger brother of Jalen Williams on the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's a great at getting to the basket. Good slasher, has shown a lot of potential with his ball handling and upside. He's got a lot of room for improvement, and I think that Utah could be great in developing him if they can do it right. Next up, the Hornets, and I think they go guard here, but two guard. I think if Charlotte was on the board here, this is the spot for Jacoby Walter, who has a lot of upside, but I could also see them going a big man since we just had them trade away Nick Richards. This is one of the tougher picks I've had to do so far. Um, Actually, you know what? I think they would go T John Saloon out of France to be that backup power forward for Grant Williams. And since they're probably going to lose Miles Bridges this offseason, I don't know much about Saloon's game, but I've seen him hyped up a lot as a good scoring big man. Next up, the Thunder. I think that's who the Thunder would go if he was still available, is Salon out of France. But now with him not available anymore, following the Alex Caruso trade, which isn't even updated here, they don't have that in here yet. I think what the Thunder are going to be looking for is wing. I don't think that they're going to trade this pick. They could, but I think what they're going to end up doing is getting Tristan da Silva out of Colorado, a very old guy. He's almost 23. He'll be 23, I think, by the start of the season. 16-5 as a senior at Colorado. He's really NBA ready, and he's got a lot of potential to be a good 3-and-D wing in the NBA. Next up, the Kings. This is a very interesting team. I think they're going to go backup point guard since Keon Ellis has been better as the off guard, the two, sometimes even the three. I think the perfect player for this